Racket number 2,
Yep.
Zillow. They're in a
Zillow's back.
lawsuit. Zillow lawsuit accuses the company of wiretapping. We will link up the BAM article where we sourced the original Inman article. The new class action lawsuit, one of several filed this month, accuses Zillow of violating consumer privacy. According to the complaint, Nicole, Zillow uses session replay code to record every user interaction with the website. These actions also violate Washington wiretapping laws. The lawsuit filed on Monday also names Microsoft as the defendant. Zillow contracts with Microsoft to embed the code used to record consumer engagement in their website. This is not the first case of its kind, and if Zillow loses this fight, the outcome could reshape how large tech companies collect user data and gauge consumer interaction with their brand. Obviously, Apple has stopped the ability to just to run these Facebook ads at scale to people based off of their, how they're, using their phone essentially. Right. And so,
Yep.
This is kind of like tracking every little move people are making once they get on the Zillow app. I mean, imagine that, Nicole, you knew exactly if people were clicking on like the
We've said it from the
agent.
beginning. Data, data, data. I mean,
Think about how many times Zillow has moved the agent around.
yeah.
Like they used to be on, the right-hand side, then they push them all the way down to the bottom. They've moved that agent contact field around a whole bunch of times. Maybe they said, it's getting a little too much attention over here. That agent bio on Zillow is getting too much attention over here. Let's move it over there.
I'm sure it was all about the agents.
When you have the data, you can do
Yeah,
things like that. And they
for
certainly
sure.
would have the data on maybe, I mean, this is the data I really think is interesting that I always have known Zillow has had is, okay, a property is, not on the market. And then all of a sudden in a month, you get like all these hits and it's coming from one IP address. And that IP address is the home. It's the home. Do you think that homeowner is looking at their property for a reason all of a sudden? They haven't looked at it in 5 years. Now they're hitting it over and over again in a 30-day window. They're
Right.
probably thinking about selling.
Right. They're looking at their value.
Right.
There's estimate.
And I always wondered why Zillow wouldn't use that data to maybe go and create more seller leads, because that's where they've kind of struggled. They've been great at creating buyer leads and struggled with seller leads.
Right.
And we didn't really see that to come to fruition. So maybe they're not going that deep. It'll be interesting to see. I think that, likely this thing will get settled. I don't see a real, I haven't seen tech companies, although there was some news this week, Nicole. I don't know if you caught it. There was some big blow to tech companies in terms of Facebook or Meta. In the comments, if you know what the heck I'm talking about, because I clearly don't know what I'm talking about.
This is all over my head. None of it makes sense to me.
There was some, these tech companies have this big, governmental protection, basically. And I think this one was more on censoring people. So maybe I'm going down a complete opposite direction.
I don't know. Bobby's trying really frantically to do a little Google search for you because he wants you to save face here. But
yeah, maybe Bobby can look that up. I saw a headline where it's like it was probably some political tabloid or something.
Yeah.
But anyways,
we'll add it to the left, right, middle.
Anyways, there's certainly a lot. Apple's been on the forefront of this. A lot of protection for consumers for what they're doing online. I've always said Zillow has all the data. And so even if they lose this, they still have tons of data on their website because more people use it than anywhere else. So when they come out with a report, don't take it for granted because they're seeing everything. More people are using their website. When they actually have lead opportunities, agents, don't sneeze at those. I was actually talking to one of our seasoned agents the other day, Nicole, and we did a panel. And we had a whole bunch of, people that are thinking about joining real estate, thinking about joining the team in Connecticut come in. Mm-hmm. And he pulled me to the side after and he said, because we were talking about Zillow and leads and how great it is to build your business, because let's face it, consumers trust Zillow.
Right.
And he said to me, he goes, I was always, the one thing that's different about here and other places is I was always taught that Zillow's the enemy.
Right.
Most agents, when they're at a typical brokerage, and there's a whole bunch of people that have been around 20, 30 years in this industry, they will teach you that Zillow's the enemy. They're the devil. And that's always how he was trained. So when he was in front of a consumer, he would often say, Zillow's bad. Don't look at this
Horrible.
estimate.
Yeah. It's
Somebody,
terrible. They're
somebody
just trying
brings
to
up,
generate leads.
somebody brings up Zillow. Don't look at that. And you come
Yeah.
in with this very defensive attitude towards Zillow when you're talking to a consumer, and a consumer takes that and they say, whoa, I use Zillow. It's the most trusted brand that I have. And you're being very defensive about it. Do I lose trust in you, the agent, or do I lose trust in the brand that I knew before I even knew who the heck you were?
Right.
Likely they start to shy away from that agent. And he said, here, it's always been the opposite. Use Zillow to your advantage. Let Zillow help you educate consumers. There may be misinformation, but that's where you come in and be the educator. Use
Right.
Zillow to connect with more people in your community. Zillow's the best tool that any real estate agent has ever had plopped into their lap. Unfortunately, most of them don't realize that to be the truth. I think that this, what do you think about this lawsuit though? Are you concerned? Would you be
I don't know. It's
you
all over my
worried
head.
about it?
I feel like at this point, like I'm hitting cookies daily. I feel like everybody knows where I am at all times. That's essentially what this is saying, right? It's like building out where you're headed on the website. I have no idea to be honest, I've got no idea what it all means. So it
Eh,
doesn't, I mean, it doesn't, clearly tech companies are concerned about it because it'll certainly halt what they're doing in terms of business practices. But I mean, I'm not overly concerned with them knowing where I'm headed on their website. I mean, I'm a pretty boring girl.
In the comments, does it concern you? Do you have concern for your clients being tracked by Zillow? And let me know why. Love to see those. If you do use Zillow and you're not wanting to be tracked, you could always go incognito window. That's the tip at the bottom of this article, which again, if you want the full details, we'll link that below. Hey guys, appreciate you checking out this episode of The Real Word. If you want the full episode, go over to the Broke Agent YouTube. That's where we're hosting the full podcast. If you want to continue to see the segments broken out and the short clips, stay right here on The Real Word YouTube.